Fellas, man. It's a sad day to be a Play Now user. And if you already peeped it in the title, yes, what you were thinking is right. Unfortunately, man, 2K hold us of being able to save our defensive settings this year, man.
Oh my God, my Shayla.
I promise y'all, man, not to go on a tangent, but man, 2K really don't like us Play Now Online users. 2K just stays changing shit that we don't need to change, man. But anyways, before we get into the defensive settings, I am running new settings this year, so you're gonna want to stick all the way to the end of this video. All I ask is you drop a like in the video and smash that subscribe button. If you're new here, we're grinding to 20,000 by the end of this year. So what does this mean? Obviously, each game, if you want the right settings, which I'm sure most of y'all would want that, you're gonna have to pause the game before the game starts and make your defensive settings changes each and every single time. All right, so off rip, man, on ball pressure, off ball pressure, obviously these are two very vital settings you want to change. What I'm running this year so far, y'all, is tight, and the reason being, tight on ball pressure is pretty self-explanatory. You don't want to go smother, you don't want to get blown by, you don't want to go anything less than tight, because shooting this year is OD, which leads me to the off ball pressure, man. You want to have this set to tight this year. I had this set to moderate for the most part for majority of the 2Ks leading up to this one, but with the way 2K is being played right now, unless there's a patch made to shooting and the contest system, you definitely don't want to give up a bunch of threes. So you want to set this off ball pressure to tight. And if you got to live with the back cuts, you can always adjust later, and you could always just set it to moderate if your opponent is that type of a player. Force direction, you don't got to worry about that one. Now here's my settings for the on ball screen for 1 through 4 and for your center. Yes, your eyes don't deceive you. I'm running two different coverages. So for the on ball screen, I'm running go under, and the reason being is because I like to switch a lot 1 through 4. The positives to doing that is you don't give up threes, but the negative to doing that is you put yourself in a position where there may be mismatches, but I'm willing to live my opponent having to beat me through the post. Now for my center though, I have it on the opposite. I have it as go over because some centers can't shoot, and if I'm controlling the center who's usually guarding the screener, I'm going to play into what's called a drop coverage where they play back. That way my on ball defender will obviously go over as you guys see the setting, and the only opening after that for my opponent to take is if he slips to the rim, which I'm waiting for it, or a dex pop to the 3-point line. If he's running a center that could shoot like Wemby, Jokic, Embiid, then I'll make the adjustment and play up more or just X switch it again. For the hedges, I like to do the hedging myself in terms of switching. If I'm 1 through 4 or if I'm controlling the center, then like I said just earlier, I will play in a what's called a drop coverage. So for the hedges, I don't like to touch this setting. Stay attached, you don't need to touch off ball screens. Same thing, same concept. Go over all of those screens. For the post, I like to have it set to behind. The reason being is I'd rather have him just have to beat me again through the post. If I have a mismatch, I'll just double team from the nearest defender and rotate the second closest defender. But other than that, I don't want them to throw a pass over the top and he gets an easy dunk. So I'd rather just have him catch it and I'm between him and the basket. Double team, I don't change anything because I manually like to send double teams with my icon. Switch rules off ball and pre-rotate, I also don't touch. You definitely don't want to touch pre-rotate. If you have this set to yes, then your AIs or your help defenders are going to rotate for you, and you don't want to do that because you guys are not going to be on the same page. They're going to be doing one thing while you're thinking the other. All right, these are the next set of settings that are extremely important. The help rules, man. All of these screen, drive, and cutter. You definitely want to have these set to all of them set to no help, and the reason being is, again, you don't want to give a bunch of threes and you don't want your AIs to help for no reason without you knowing what they're doing. And if you have these set to yes, they're gonna do it without you having any control over it, and that's just gonna be extremely frustrating, especially when they drop from the corner and give up a wide open three. Dribble handoff, I don't worry about this one, but all the down screens you guys see, back screen and flare screen, same concept, go over. I'd rather be chasing from over the top and get a contest on the three than go under the screen and give up a wide open three. Last thing is the transition defense, man. Transition defense is the hardest thing to do because I don't know what it is, but it's just the way 2K's program. The offense just moves way faster when they're running down the court as opposed to your defenders trying to get back and match up. So I definitely would set this to no threes so that way your players run to the 3-point line and not all just into the paint. So now we're going to move on from the settings and move on to more of the tips and tricks of defense this year. So if you're brand new to the game and you don't know, you can actually do a specific player defensive change. Is all you got to do is press R1 on this same page that you're on, and it'll go to each single player from the other team, and you can make individual defensive adjustments for each player. So what I'll do is first I'll go off of the matchup. So if I'm playing the Thunder and I believe I'm controlling, so I just picked a random team. So the Sixers was the first team by default. So what I'm going gonna do is go through the players, and I kind of already have an idea in my head when I pick the team who's gonna be my primary defenders. So for the Sixers, it can either be between Quentin Grimes. If you look down in the bottom right, he has a perimeter defense of 84, Paul George 80, and Kelly Oubre, who it only says 75. He has the frame to play defense. He's 6'7" or 6'8", and you definitely want to take advantage of those type of players and put them in the appropriate matchup. So for SGA, I'm gonna put my best defender. Obviously, a guy like Tyrese Maxey, an undersized guard who can't play defense, as well as the wings, that is, you definitely want to hide him. So I'm definitely gonna put either Quentin Grimes or PG. For this game, I would test out Quentin Grimes because he has a higher perimeter defense and agility than PG. And the other reason for that is you kind of got to go off of your opponent's lineup. If he's going with this big lineup with Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, then you probably want to put PG here so that way Chet Holmgren doesn't just get a size advantage on Kelly Oubre. But if he went small and had Caruso in the game, I would personally put a guy like PG who's 6'8" instead of Quentin Grimes who's probably 6'5" or 6'6". I would put PG in that scenario on SGA and make it tough for him, and then put my secondary defender here, which would be Quentin Grimes, and then match up the rest accordingly. So a guy like Lou Dort and Caruso, I can easily just hide Tyrese Maxey here, and then if let's say hypothetically if Caruso is in the game, starting the game, then I would put Kelly Oubre here, and then obviously on the center, if it's Chet Holmgren, then I would just put Embiid here. Now the next thing I like to do, y'all, is for all the non-shooting, especially mostly bigs, I like to go to those players. So let's say Isaiah Hartenstein, who's a great example. He can kind of shoot the three. I've seen that in the past, but he has a slow, long hitch, and I'd rather have my opponent beat me shooting threes with Isaiah Hartenstein than going crazy with a guy like J-Dub or SGA. You definitely want to put gap on players that can't shoot. So a guy like Giannis, a guy maybe with a slow release, you can go like Jokic, for example, go gap off the ball and then on the ball make it tight. That way you can always just close out, get a hand up and get a contest at the last second. But if this was the starting lineup, then I would move on to the bench and I would find any non-shooting bigs. The other Jalen Williams has an A-3, and granted, this is a very good team in the Thunder, and I wouldn't worry too much about changing any settings for any of the bench players. Like I said earlier, all you really want to worry about is the first 5, and then if he has any non-shooting bigs on the bench, definitely change those for them. All right, to wrap it up, man, here's all of my settings again. I'm gonna just kind of scroll through a little bit. You can slow down the video at your own speed if you need, but most of my settings again are gonna be go over or tight, and the reason being again is because I don't want to give up threes with how easy it is to green, how hard it is to get a contest. If 2K does a big patch, I will definitely do an update to this video down the road. Oh yeah, and I got one more thing. Y'all see the screen, man. This is the offensive settings. If you want the best plays, the best 3-point money plays, pick and roll plays, you name it, get this video to 300 likes and I got y'all, man. And if you want to see my first comp gameplay, make sure you click the video you see on your screen because I ran into a sweaty OKC user.